All right, we're all good to go?
Yep.
All right, then. Let's get it underway. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin Beyond the Rift, episode number 16, starring the ever-lovable Ama Cutie Pie, the Esports Industry Award winner 2016, Best Player of the Year, according to Now TV, Domino's Pizza, the winner, dude. That's who's joining you today. And also my ever-lovable guest, Scar. Scar, you ever win an Esports Industry Award?
I can't say that I have, so I'm very proud of you, dude. I saw your acceptance speech at the end, and the clip that they used.
Oh, that was a great egg.
That was when you took a bite of that funny, and I almost lost myself.
Quality stuff, dude. And our special guest for Beyond the Rift today, if they don't know you, can you introduce yourself, Valkrin?
I'm a streamer. I play League. I'm a troll, I guess.
And that's my boy Valkrin. So we got the hard hitting Three Musketeers today, and we're gonna be coming in hot with some hard hitting topics that I know you guys are gonna love. But before we get it underway, I just want to give a shout out to Discord and Bloody. Scar, you rocking the Bloody headset? Oh, I know you are, dude, because I'm rocking them too. I can't get enough of these Bloody headsets. They're so bloody good. I love them, dude. Yeah. And Discord too. Shout outs to Discord, man. If you want to go and do a live Q&A at the end of the stream, we're going to be having one. You just got to download Discord down below. Click that link. Go to the live Q&A section. And we're going to be answering some questions that you guys have. But all right, let's get it. Enough of that stuff. Let's get it underway with the meat of the subject. We're just going to go straight into it. Is that all right with you guys?
It's perfect. Yeah. I'm ready.
All right, then. Let's start. Topic number 1. Preseason is coming to a close within 7 days, which is much earlier than prior seasons. How would you rate the success of the current preseason? I love the preseason.
5 out of 7.
You give it a 5 out of 7. That's pretty good, dude. I like that one. What do you give it a 5 out of 7 for?
Exciting gameplay, unpredictability. I think it's been a really good preseason because if you think about preseasons in the past, like Season 2 Black Cleaver meta and stuff, I mean, plants have changed the game, and there are definitely things like new support itemization that has changed how you kind of approach the role. I think that, I mean, I've been having fun. Like, it might not be the most balanced thing, but I kind of like how goofy it is, and like to see where it goes.
Yeah, in terms of, like, fun, like, Redemption, I gotta say, whoever came up with that, dude, thumbs up. Redemption and Locket of the Iron Solari in combination with one another, dude, you did a fucking bang-up job, dude. Like, good shit with that. Like, I love having those and just playing anything, especially Ivern, though, and just, like, spamming them off cooldown, just like a complete chimp. Like, it just makes for some amazing gameplay. I know the stream loves watching that one.
My biggest complaint with the preseason, actually, is the fact that I don't think they changed enough. Like, okay, they came with this fat preseason patch, right? First week, oh, it's crazy. I have, like, a 2-hour patch preview about it. And afterwards, they didn't really touch too many other things. You just talked about Locker Redemption. Why didn't that stuff get nerfed, like, on the second patch? Even the third. I think we're on the third patch coming in next week, and they're just now nerfing Syndra, Courage of the Colossus, and
wait, they're nerfing Syndra?
Yes, or maybe not. I think they reverted the Syndra nerfs, which I think is whatever. But I just feel like there wasn't an update. Like, the first patch was fantastic, and then the follow-up patches were just, like, good, but it's preseason, man. You gotta whip out the big stuff. You're like, oh shit, like, we're gonna go, is this item being too good? Let's just nerf the shit out of it. We'll see what happens.
Hey, they did that with AD, dude. They nerfed Fervor and all the armor pen builds, so now I'm stuck playing Vayne every single fucking game.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so the first week was like, oh, Fervor champions got nerfed. Lucian, Kalista have the lowest win rates in the game. Alright, cool. They nerf Fervor, and then after that, they should buff the champions or Fervor. They're doing really bad because of the Fervor nerf. So Lucian should have been first on block. Be like, oh, I guess we're going to give him his Q range back, you know? But why isn't he there touched yet? Like, this is the preseason. Change stuff up, man. I don't want to go throughout the normal season and be like, oh, okay, like, you know, that was okay. This is the stuff where they can go wild. And I don't really think they've done that. Like, I think there's a bunch of shit that should have been changed that never really got touched, except for the first initial patch.
Yeah. I talked to Joe Greylock actually like 2 or so weeks ago. He was doing about a week of where he was just getting input from high elo players, and someone from Riot just like referred me, and so I ended up having like a Skype conversation with him for about an hour. He's like a pretty big figure behind like the balance in the game and a really big driver in the new jungle and stuff like that. So he had a lot of questions for my perspective, and I think a lot of the reasons why they're so hesitant in changing stuff is because they have a lot of changes in the works that he kind of told me about, the way they were trying to gear the game, but they're afraid of they're basically afraid of having a situation where every assassin they touched was too overpowered with a 6-ban system. So that's why they kept items like Redemption and Locket like they were, kind of, because if we entered a state where every single reworked assassin was just super busted, then like it would be, you know, the state of the game would be like miserable if they also like, you know, nerfed 80 carries in the same patch. I mean, it is kind of like very imbalanced, obviously, but I think one of the bigger problems is that some of the rework champions, like, just they basically don't function well enough that you feel like playing them. Like you know what I mean? Like reworked Akali and stuff like that. They feel so undertuned and weak when you compare it to something like a ranged assassin like Vayne that I don't even feel like testing it. Like if I played Akali or one of the champions that they toned down a lot, or even like Talon, like I feel like Talon has potential.
Zed is so bad.
Yeah, like Zed's a perfect example. Like I played a game of Zed and he got like, you know, he got nerfed in the ground because of armor pen, and Exhaust is still in its current state being so good against assassins, and you have Locket and you have Redemption. Like why I can't test Zed. Like I legitimately will feed, because it doesn't matter how well you play him. Once you go into team fights, like you're just useless. So that's my main concern with the preseason, is I would love to test this stuff, but like I don't even feel like it can test it, because, you know, something like Vayne is so ridiculously strong in comparison to everything else that it's just like, well, if it can't beat Vayne, then like I might as well just forfeit, because we're gonna lose this game if I play Akali or something like that.
But isn't that kind of based on what I said though? Because it's not so much that the champions can't beat Vayne. Like the problem is, it's like when you look at the mid lane assassins, it's like, who would you rather have on your team, Zed or Syndra? $1 million to Syndra every single game on my team, because Syndra's just a better champion. Assassinate's better than Zed. Like, lane's better than Zed. Like, there is no competition there. So, like, rather than being able to tune down stuff and make sure, like, I think they were so worried about assassins being released overtuned that instead they have so many things that you can't even tell if assassins are good. I still don't know if assassins are good.
I feel like they're all just garbage. Like, the only ones that really made a difference is LeBlanc. Honestly, they barely changed anything about LeBlanc, so, like, that one doesn't even count as a rework. And then I think Katarina maybe good.
Yes.
And then I think that's it.
Wait, what about Fizz? You don't think Fizz is good?
Oh, I think Fizz is ridiculous, but I'm pretty sure against better players, he'll just be worthless. Like, if I played... What?
You keep going.
I'm pretty sure if I played Fizz versus, like, any player that was, like any player that played something meta against me, like I can't imagine what I'd do versus Ryze. I'm pretty sure I'd just feed. And if I played against, like, Syndra, I mean, I could maybe win it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to feed if I get no pressure, and it's just like, yeah.
I think stuff like Cat and Fizz look good because there's like high skill discrepancies right now in matchmaking, as well as the fact that like they're new, so you don't really know, and they snowball like amazingly well, like assassins normally do. And so, yeah, like every game I play Cat, if I'm the Cat player, I get 1 kill in lane, I'm going 13 kills, like straight up, like Like, there's so many games where I just end like 9-1 or 9-0 because the mid laner has no idea how to play the matchup. And because of that, you can just snowball like a god. And I've seen like everyone play Fizz. I saw Cutie play Fizz the other day where he was just like killing a Vayne on cooldown. He was like 15 kills at the end of the game. I'm just like, that probably wouldn't have happened if he didn't snowball out of lane, you know?
Yeah, like that's the thing with these reworks is it's just like, I mean, I tried out some of the reworks on PBE, but it's like, dude, I can't test, like, this shit doesn't mean anything playing out on PBE. Like, these players are really good and all, but like, I'm definitely like slightly better than them, so I know how to snowball my lead. But then it's like, alright, dude, they're coming out on live, let's go. Oh wait, it's just flex queue that I can play. And then I'm like playing against the same players that I play in like PBE. It's just like bronze 5 players. It's like, well, I mean, I'm snowballing and I think this champ's good, but like, does this really prove anything? Not really. You can't really tell anything in this preseason, like what's good and what's bad. I just wish that like right now, like until the season starts, I don't know about you guys, but I pretty much had to only play solo queue or flex queue because solo queue has just been like abandoned basically.
Yeah. Everyone's playing flex queue. The queue times are so long. What? I'm averaging 9-minute queues or more in solo queue. I've mastered
in
like
solo queue. I averaged a 50-minute queues. I've gotten 50-minute queues like 4 times, and I just said, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna play only solo queue or flex queue from now on." I'm pretty sure that's how Riot tries to get people to like advertise that thing. No, I'm like positive, dude. I'm telling you, man, it's Mark Merrill pulling the fucking switches, dude, telling me like, all right, you're gonna play flex queue today. I'm tired of hearing people diss this thing. So, yeah, I'd give this preseason like. It's pretty fucking wonky, and honestly, nothing really changed. Like, plants are cool, jungle's still broken as hell, like, assassins are mostly worthless. Like, it's still the same shit, except, like, I can play even less ADCs now, so I give it, like a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, I don't know.
Yeah, like, for me, I'd just give it a 5 out of 10. I think that they didn't even change enough to work out the problems in the last meta where it's so laning dominant that they didn't nerf all the top laners in every position just to even be able to see if they can bring in other champions. So like, if they ever introduce a mid lane champion, you have to consider, how do I play into Ryze with this champion? The answer is I can't. Or how do I play into Syndra? And the answer is I can't. And it's true for like Jay's top lane or how do I play into Caitlyn bot lane? Seriously. Like, you could do it with Jhin and Ashe, but it's like, that's it. And it's like, they never really addressed the super laning dominant meta and made changes to that or nerfed the champions that are super strong in lane. So I just feel like the preseason was cool at the very beginning, but now that we're getting to the end of it, I think they didn't do much. They didn't do enough.
You got anything, Valkrin?
I think that one of the core aspects of the game that just eventually needs to get addressed, this is probably too big of a topic to even bring up, but like, the core balance between melee and range champions, I think that is the reason why the game is always like fluctuated between balance states where you have Rengar one-shotting you before you can react, and then a ranged champion like Syndra that one-shots you before you can react despite staying safe. It feels bad when you're playing a melee champion that is squishy, right? Like, it just seems that they can pick Janna, they can just kind of like ball up once laning phase ends, and your options become limited against good players because they're not going to just face check a bush. And you know, like when you're in a meta or you're in an elo where people are just splitting up and face checking bushes, like anything is possible. I mean, you can legitimately climb with anything because, you know, like when someone's face checking you and you're playing Garen, I mean, you just one shot a dude and you can go and split push. But champions like that, like Garen and Volibear, and even Shyvana to a degree, even though I feel like she's crazy in most elos, even she will just like fall completely flat on her face when she's forced to deal with these like ranged protect comps with like Ivern and Janna and Vayne and Caitlyn. Like, what do you do? Like, if you can't kill their AD carry, eventually their AD carry kills you late game. So one of the core balance problems with the game, and this is something that even other MOBAs like Dota 2 have, they've fluctuated so much in like how much power they give to a melee champion versus range. But League at its core, when you watch like pro drafts and stuff like that, everything kind of depends on ranged. I mean, we see like Jace being so dominant because he can abuse ranged, and he's also like melee stat wise and also like assassin like damage. So when it comes down to its core, when an assassin, a melee assassin like Talon or something like that, even though he's got a ton of mobility, if he can't just like flat out deal with that like range discrepancy where like he goes in, if he doesn't kill anyone, then he's useless and he's dead and you lost the team fight, you lose the game. That it's like, well, what do you really do? Like if an AD if they're moving assassins away from being able to just like flat out one shot someone in a team fight, well then what do they accomplish against good players? Because there's just this meta, this ideal state for pro play and high elo where you group up and you make this like protect ball and you like move and clear vision on Baron and you move and you siege. And I feel like even when I get ungodly fed on an assassin and even in past metas, it's just like you go and you get exhausted, you're dead.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that they could do to fix that though. Like
right.
the problem, I mean, I've played this game. I mean, I don't know how long we've all played this game. I don't think I've ever had a time where I was like, melee champion, they're just ridiculous. I can't deal with these melee champions just running around all over me. Like I always, like people complain about AD, like damn, AD is so worthless. I can't do it. Like I've never had a time where I was just like, why do I even play this game? AD is such fucking having range. What a joke, dude. I might as well just play a melee champion. This shit's stupid as hell, dude. Like, yeah, there's just so many things. I mean, I feel like summoner spells are probably the biggest problem for melee champions. Where,
yeah, I think exhaust is really overtuned for the most part.
And I mean, Flash is like, it's so hard to deal with if you're a melee champion. Like, you just have to, it's just way too much.
I have a different opinion on this. I think a large reason why we see less assassin and even split push play top lane is that Riot changed the meta in the last 2 seasons to be more in the sense that you can't split push as easily. Like they want to encourage team fights. So I remember a long time ago, season 3, you play assassins, you play Aurelia Jax top lane, and when you got a lead, you just split push down the lane. Literally all the way. Like, how many times have you seen like an LCS game where the most famous Darshan clip is him backdooring the Nexus, and he like literally just like pushed down like one lane the entire time. You know, he's famous for doing that shit. There are people top lane who are famous for being able to be split push gods. And then now when you think about it, it's you can't really split push anymore because they created a situation where the split pushing isn't rewarded really because it's really not interactive to split push the entire game. So Riot did a bunch of things I remember they used to give second tier towers used to give tower shields. And then they made it to where it's harder to break down turrets earlier. They made it to where Baron buff now gives these, you can't push against Baron minions, ever. You can't clear against Baron minions. So if you trade Baron for bot inhib, you're just gonna get crushed, essentially. So everything's based on the fact that it used to be 3 types of comps, right? Or 4 types, I guess. It was like normal ball comp, hard initiation, dive comp, and then poke comp, and then split push. And then you would use facets of either one to develop your composition. However, really, everyone stopped playing everything else. The ball comp is probably the easiest to play, just because everyone comes together and you walk forward. And the split push comp and the poke comps are much harder to play. They're very more well defined. Everyone has to know their role. And I think split pushing in general has kind of died away, or you have to split push to get pressure and then collapse for a team fight to flank. And I think that just in general, because split pushing is a lot less powerful or relevant right now, assassins look like garbage. Same thing with top laners. Like I think having a discrepancy versus melee and range champions is fine. Honestly, it's like more balanceable if there were like more ideal comps where they can go into. But yeah, the reason why assassins feel so bad right now is, like you said before, you have to fight. And you have to team fight. And unless you get this ungodly flank, you're not going to kill anyone if they have exhaust and Janna and Hybrid. So I think one style of comp is just too good right now. And they should really look toward buffing like other styles. I primarily think split pushing is the way that assassins come back in the meta. Because I remember playing Zed before in season 3. Out of 10 kills, I would just split push them in the game. And they would have to send 2 or 3 to get me. If I traded Baron for my life or something like that, then that'd be great. But now I don't think it's that easy. I don't think split pushing is in any way good at the moment.
Yeah, now that I think about it, now you bring it up, I haven't seen like split pushing like oriented stuff in so long. It's just usually like, yeah, assassins used to be ridiculous because it's like, all right, Zed's pushing bottom. We can't send anyone against him. What do? Well, we got to send 2. Zed just like chills there. You guys go do Baron, and then Zed comes out. He goes and pushes again while you guys push top lane. That stuff become a lot harder to do because it's just so much easier to just force stuff. There's so many defensive items now. Like, yeah, like with redemption and stuff, I can't imagine how impossible it's going to be to send someone to split push, because if you want to just force down a tower with redemption and fucking lock it, it's basically like, it's like 5,000 effective health for everyone. It's like, they're going to take the tower. Like, if you put a 4v5 mid lane, like, they're going to take the tower. So, I mean, they've been moving the game away from split pushing. Do you think it's something that should have been addressed preseason, or?
I think if they wanted to bring back assassin viability, their idea of buffing support items and buffing tanks is the wrong way to do it. They should have looked to buff split push, because that's where melee assassins especially do, and even range assassins. I remember LeBlanc used to be able to sideline split push even safer because no one could deal with her and she just range takes the tower. And I think, although there is a discrepancy between like melee range stuff, a large part of the reasons why assassins feel like garbage right now is because, yeah, they just can't split push.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't even make sense to give them that much mobility anyways. Like, I don't know. It just like, I feel like they went the wrong way with assassins again.
Isn't that their classification for assassins though? Is like their ability to like go in and then go out or whatever? Like, I think I read a post where they explained how an assassin, like the difference between an assassin and like some other garbage, and it's like an assassin's able to like kill you and then back out or some shit. It's like, I didn't really understand what exactly they were trying to say with it, but do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but yeah, but it's like, oh, like they don't even need that definition. Assassins are champions that are squishy, that can kill other squishy targets very quickly. Yes, that's it. That's all assassins need to be. You know, they give up like wave clear and team fight ability to be able to do that. However, they excel in 1v1 situations and skirmish situations. However, you can't extend skirmish situations throughout the whole game. I think that's just the big problem right now. For assassins, specifically.
Do you think if they just like removed exhaust on this current patch?
Yes,
I would love it. Dude,
100%. Oh my god.
Like, I feel like exhaust is just like, it's just such a stupid summoner. Like, it's been run so long and like, I mean, in competitive play, it's like you can run Ignite, and I mean, it's not a bad thing to run, but you should almost always run exhaust, because exhaust is just, it just does so much. It lowers armor, it lowers resist, it slows you, it slows your attack speed, and it reduces your damage. Like, why does exhaust need to do all of these things when Ignite just ticks you for damage? It's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I definitely think it should be removed. Do I think it'll ever be removed? Hell no. I'd be happy with just a nerf. Like, either not have it slow your attack speed, slow you, reduce your armor, or reduce your damage. Like, they could take off any of those, and I think it'd be fine. But exhaust, yeah, like, it kills any chance of an assassin doing anything.
I think it should speak volumes of when bot laners and support just stop taking Ignite. Even in kill lanes, they're just like, you know what, exhaust is just better because the skill's better throughout the game, and it's always good.
And it's fine for kills lanes too, because it gives you armor pen. So
yeah, and it slows their attack speed. So it's like, wait a second,
yeah,
what is this summoner? I think if they just removed exhaust, yeah, you could then team fight with assassins, because it's like, even if they do get shielded, it's like, okay. Who cares? If your damage doesn't get negated, then you still may have enough to blow them up. However, obviously, the game's kind of balanced around maybe like having a little bit of exhaust. I'm okay. I agree with Keating. Nerf something out of it. Just anything. Whether the damage reduction portion, the armor magic pen, the slowing, the attack speed, something. Please, dear God.
I think that an easy fix would be to make it a skill shot, even though that might sound kind of lame, is because it would actually give, you could keep exhaust. Maybe it still probably needs to be toned down, but like the counterplay element, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it would. There's no way they could make exhaust a skill shot. Okay. Like a 3-minute cooldown skill shot would be like, that would be way too.
People would suck with that.
Yeah.
I think the solution, at least the Band-Aid solution at the moment, is make it so QSS removes exhaust again.
Oh yeah.
When they made it so only cleanse could do that, I thought that was terrible. The reason why exhaust got picked so much now is because there's no counter to it, unless you run cleanse at the start of the game, and no AD is going to do that shit. So I think that the correct counterplay is literally just to make it so QSS can can do that. That way, if I'm split pushing and I want to be able to, or if I want a team fight, I can just take QSS, and then I can just QSS when they exhaust me, because they will exhaust me. And that way, bot laners will start taking Ignite more, and mid laners will start taking Barrier more. I just feel like maybe that's the answer. That's the Band-Aid answer.
All right, fair enough then. I guess we can all say preseason could use a little work, but it's all right, dude. Not bad, right? Not a bad attempt. Let's go on to the next topic then. So last season we talked about how jungle was probably the best role, especially in ranked. Do you feel like that has changed in the preseason? Hell no. Jungle is
it's still the best role.
Yeah, jungle is just an absolute.
You got to be playing the right champion, though. Like if you're.
Wait, you don't have to. Wait, you have to play the right. I'm pretty sure jungle is like the most. Like you could play anything in the jungle because you don't have to. I mean, obviously there's like matchups in the jungle and like I do it with Dom and he's like, oh, this matchup's so good for me. And then how often do they find each other? Never. They just AFK farm and they go and fight and like go kill the top lane or 1v2. It's like jungle. You can get away with so much and it's so free. Dude, I could rant on and on about jungle, but what were you saying, Valkrin?
I agree with you in that, like, you can jungle anything right now. Like, if I wanted the Jade's jungle, you could just do it. But the biggest issue is, it really does come down to clear speed, and so it's like, why should you play Nunu right now? Like, the time it takes to clear the jungle as Nunu compared to like Lee Sin or Kha'Zix. Like, I could do a full clear on Kha'Zix and be halfway level 5 by 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Like, just disgusting. Like, I've like, in that game, Skara, where you were playing Veigar and I was Olaf, I hit level 6 in 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
Holy shit, I remember
and then
that.
your mid laner came to roam, and I killed him. Because I was chasing Lee to the tier 2 tower, chased him into the base, and then Xerath came in behind me, and you were like back-pinging me, and I could like feel you like, because I still had like blue or something, I could like feel you tilting, like, don't give him blue. And I just fucking turned and solo killed him and just like walked it back to mid lane and then taxed your lane and then went back into the jungle. And I was like almost level 7.
Yeah. Do you think jungle should be able to do that? Do you
No.
think jungle XP should be that high? Because like, I feel like if you're ganking bot lane at they're level 1, I'm level 3. And then I come back, I'm level 6, they're level 4. It's like, what's the counterplay?
It's like really good for the junglers that clear quickly, and then like if you're playing a jungler like a Mumu, it still feels terrible. Like I tried to play a Mumu, and like not only did I just like go out of mana in the jungle and I couldn't gank right away, but I was like clearing like 2 camps slower than the Lee Sin, and so he just finished his jungle and ran into my jungle and killed me, and I was just like, huh. So like you can definitely like play a Mumu and Sedge and stuff and low elo, but like there reaches a point where if you're against like an enemy competent jungler, like he's gonna be level 6 at 4 minutes 30 seconds, and you might like had to early back as a Mumu or something, and then you're like, why am I 3 levels down? And then the game just ends. But I don't know, like the game can be so biased towards like what you play, because I don't play as much like Graves or Lee Sin or Elise, and I feel like
you're missing out, dude. That's all I play in the jungle.
Just like crazy ridiculous.
What?
Especially Lee right now, I think is Lee Sin. I've seen like even the worst Lee Sins just like
right here, dude.
His clear speed's really fast, and then he just like gets such a level lead that he's just one-shotting everybody. I don't know. It's like it's weird. The state of the jungle is overpowered because you can do a full clear, be halfway to level 5 by 3 minutes 30 seconds on multiple junglers, just starting on one side and going to the other and finishing on Krugs. And then you can tax lanes. So that's something that like laners will never be able to do fully, because like when they go and roam, they usually fall behind and experience sometimes. But like the biggest problem is they have so much loaded golden experience in the jungle that once you do a full clear really quickly, you get a kill and then tax a lane, and you're not going to fall behind, because then you go and you can counter jungle and you'll be the first level 6, and then you can't stop that. You can't slow that down. So they should definitely tone it down, because I don't see it changing unless they nerf the experience or gold or both. But then I don't want to enter a meta like Season 2 jungle where
I
you just
want
see
to. God, yes, please.
fuck
Yeah,
you.
I want to enter a meta where every jungler is building support items and they're just like paper. They die instantly. They're just walking oracles. I would love for that meta to come
First
back.
item Aegis Season 2.
No,
like,
oracles.
Maokai.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
You just
starting
buy oracles
oracles.
on Nautilus and Maokai just walk into like the bot lane and just sit there to clear the wards. It was so stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
Nasus jungle, dude. Like, pink wards, just... That was such a terrible meta for junglers. It was just laners would
yeah,
just...
but that was the best meta, I feel. I mean, the problem I have with this meta right now is it's just like junglers, yeah, they just... You shouldn't be able to full clear the jungle, like, full life, just go gank a lane. If it works, like, alright, you got the kill, so you got like an extra... First blood, you got 400 gold, then you tax the wave, you get like an extra 200 gold, you go in shop, you have like a fucking BF sword at like 2 minutes in or some bullshit, and then you go back and you just kill everything. Like, you don't know how many times I've just gotten, I get that stupid level 3 gank every single time that Riot says is intended. That stupid red buff Krugs, gank bot. Like at this point, it's just like, okay, it's 2 minutes in, I'm gonna sit in a brush. I'm just gonna wait until the jungler shows or some shit. I just wait for that to happen. It doesn't matter. He didn't get the kill on me. He's just gonna go to his jungle. I'm level 4 now. It's like, oh dude, I feel some alleviated pressure. Let me go and get hyphy. Oh wait, Lee Sin's level 6. He's just gonna kick my... Like, I actually had a game where I dodged the level 3 gank. He was level 6 when I was level 4 and he just one-shot me. It's like... like what do you want? Like, what am I supposed to... Like, how do I counterplay this? I'm just sitting on my turret. Like, what do you want from me?
You gotta stop him from jungling. That's the only counterplay.
Dude, I hear that so much too. Is it's like it's a coordinated effort to stop the jungler. Yeah, let me stop him as a fucking ADC, dude. Like the reason it's so infuriating as like AD, like maybe mid lane can put some pressure in to stop the jungle. Maybe top lane, but AD and support, it's like, yeah, let me just go leave you, dude, in a 1v2. I'm just gonna stop the jungle real quick. Oh wait, I'm level 2 and I'm support, and he's level 5 and he's gonna one shot, man. Like who's gonna stop him?
It's even scary as the mid laner. Like it used to be. Okay, well the mid laner's like high level. He runs into the jungle, and then the jungle is like one level below the mid laner. So the mid laner can like kind of like pressure him, push him out, solo kill him if he stays there long enough, but not really solo kill him. It's just distract them and chunk him out. Now it's like if I'm playing on a champion and I invade the jungle potentially could just be higher level than me. And then when I find him only once,
potentially.
Okay. Most of the times. He has double buffs, and I'm just like, I can't even... If I commit on this guy, and the mid laner doesn't even need to collapse, I could just die. And so, yeah, I think the world used to be, if the jungler comes to my lane, I can just 1v2 if I'm fed. Now, it's like, if the jungler comes to my lane, I can maybe not die if he ganks. And I think that's just... brutal.
Yeah, like I remember back in the day with like Crumbs and Dom, like when they played jungle, it was like, oh my god, I'm playing Evelynn. I don't want to go anywhere near mid lane, dude. Syndra's just gonna murder me. Like, how do I go near this guy? Now it's like, okay, I'm playing Evelynn. I'm level 7. Their mid laner's level 5. Let me just go one shot him real quick. It's like,
dude, it's still like that if they're Syndra. Like, if they pick Syndra, there's, like, no counterplay. You will straight die if you're playing Evelynn and you're trying to gank a Syndra.
Okay, maybe it's still the same, but, like, now there's just so many stupid champions that get played in the jungle. Like, there's too many people that use gold too effectively in the jungle. Like, back in the day, it was like you'd have the occasional Evelynn, like, cheese pick, but you'd have, like, mostly tanks that, I mean, they use gold, but... It's not like you're ever going to have, oh my god, Nautilus is just overpowered. He's just one-shotting me. What do I do versus Nautilus jungle? He's just too strong. Or like they had Alistar jungle. He was literally just a walking combo. Like he didn't do anything. Like those, I was fine with those. But now that I have the like Olafs and the Lee Sins and the Rek'Sais, it's like, okay, this guy's like, instantly clearing the jungle. He's got 2 items up on me. He's going to just one-shot me. I mean, they're not 2 items up, but it's like an item up on me. He just one-shots me. All right, okay, you got me, dude. You had red buff, double buffs. All right, I'm dead. All right.
You definitely want the meta where I mean I remember distinctly when the meta was just like if you were a better laner you'd win the game because the jungler was too weak to turn the tide. Like if you got the slightest lead top laner mid, you know, it was done. Like you just won, and it was great because you felt more focused on the matchup than just like if I like. Right now, it's terrifying. Like you're thinking, I can like play this matchup to win it, or I can play this matchup to not die to their jungler. And you can't do both unless you know that their jungler is like being dealt with somewhere else. And I did like that, but when I started playing in the jungle more, it was just like, what's the point of being a jungler when the entire game is dependent on the laners? Like if you were jungling and you had just a worse mid laner, then you were just like, well, this is just, we're just going through the motions this game.
But now it feels like if I'm laning and I have the worst jungler, like let's say I'm playing against like an LCS jungler. Let's say I'm playing against like Sven, and then like I have like random jungler who's like just hit challenger, new to essentially like not as good. Then it's like I'm just going through the motions. Sven somehow 9-0 on Lee Sin. Shit, like I hope I can crush my mid lane hard enough to out impact the Lee, and usually I can't because he's the one that's higher level. I feel okay. So outside of nerfing gold, like XP and gold, which are very high targets, what do you think about skirmishing smite?
Get rid of that.
I mean, that's
shit.
broken. That's like a mini exhaust.
Yeah, like I don't understand how that thing was still like through. Like who came up? Yeah, exhaust is so balanced. You know what we need? We need to put it on the jungle, dude. Just put it on the jungle, but better yet, let it do true damage too, because it's just not enough.
Get vision too. Let's just get vision.
Why does it do true damage and like, oh my god, like it could just do one or the other? I don't know what it is. Like I feel like maybe as a laner, I feel more comfortable being able to like beat junglers, but once they get skirmishing smite, I'm always just like, ugh, how much damage do I do with this? I don't think I can ever beat them. Like especially if I'm 1-0 and they're 1-0, it's like a toss up sometimes, and I think that's pretty dumb.
From like an 80s perspective, like I can't stress this enough to when people ask me like, dude, I'm having so much trouble being effective as an AD. Your only job as AD, don't die to the fucking gank, dude. If you die to the gank, you're never going to be relevant. The jungle is always going to outscale you, and he's always going to one-shot you. A lot of the junglers that get played build tanky, and they're going to one-shot your ass, even when they're tanky. So if you die to the gank, like, even once, and this is why so many ADs, like, just absolutely hate that shit. I'm sure if you ask any, like, streamer AD or LCS AD, they'll all tell you, I fucking hate this role, dude. Just give me the jungle. Like, every game I play, I'm just like, me jungle. I'm jungling, dude. Give me jungle. Because that role is just like, you can make an AD just hate himself playing it. Because if you just kill him once, he already has to deal with the 2v2 now, which is going to be tipped against him. And then he's pretty much a free tower dive because you have 2 levels on him. Like every jump, like Lee Sin, kick him into the wall and then one-shot him with your Q. Olaf, just tank the tower. It doesn't matter to you and just beat him down to death. Like at least with Vayne now, it's hard to like get on her and she can maybe dodge away and stuff. But yeah, jungle it's just way too easy to get way too fed. And I think, the biggest problem, skirmishing Saber, I mean, there's so many problems. Skirmishing Saber, the fact that it gives so much golden experience, the fact that you can leech experience off of lanes, which just gives you just a disgustingly, like, I'll play with Dom, I'll tell him just take the lane and take the first tower gold, and then I could just go AFK. Like, I don't even need to do anything because he just 1v5s the game after that. Like, I think all that stuff's pretty bad. And then I think another I don't know how you guys feel about the jungle camps taking so long to spawn, but I feel like it just effectively means that the jungler can just be ganking so much more often because he doesn't need to just continuously farm. It's like, all right, I cleared my entire like side of the map. I'm just going to stay on the map and gank now. I have no reason to go to the jungle. Like I could try to counter jungle, but that shit's probably all gone too because he's just running around looking for ganks now. And
I think it makes counter jungling, like it makes it so that if you get a lead in the jungle, you don't even have to be the better jungler. Let's just say the laners just feed you a kill. If you're ahead in the jungle, you can just abuse the other jungler so hard. If you take his camps, oh my god, I've never seen a meta where taking the enemy camps means so much as like the current meta. Like it feels so bad. Like I have so many games where like the jungler is just like 2 or 3 levels behind the other jungler, and I'm just like, did he play that bad? No, he just got a lead and started taking camps. Like the other jungler can't do shit. So I don't know how. What do you think about this?
I mean, I've done that, and I've had it done to me. Like, basically what happens is I think the first gank, like, if your first gank isn't successful and theirs is, you lost as a jungler. Because, for a good example would be, when they're on blue side and they can just do red Krugs and gank bot, like, I'll ping my bot lane. Like, I'll be doing the same to their top laner, and I'll be like, I'll like type it out in chat, like, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, their Lee Sin's coming bot, and I'll ping it, and then, like, as soon as 2 minutes, 30 seconds rolls around, I'll back ping in the river, and then I'll look in the minimap and see both my bot lane, like, chasing their bot lane. I'm like, we fucking lost. And I hear double kill, and then Lee Sin, like, goes from his red to my blue, and I have to fucking fight a dude that's 2 levels higher than me, like, right away. And so I lose that camp. And then so, like, if they're at that point, if their jungler just follows me around the map, like, we lost. Because wherever I go, he can just kill me and then just take my jungle. And so it's like the first gank will decide the game pretty much.
Yeah, that's why I can't stress enough, like, respect that gate. Like, if you're bottom lane and you die to that, or if you're top lane, you pretty much, like, almost auto lost your team the game. Like, that gank, it's just so stupid, but you have to just accept the fact that you're gonna lose early pressure.
I had Hishinshin on my team, and I pinged him, and I think I typed it out. He was top lane on a blue side, and their jungler was, like, Rek'Sai on red side. And he died to the level 3 gank, TP'd back in and died again. And there's nothing I could do at that point. Like, top lane was over. He was against Quas. Quas was playing like Swain. I was like, no, we lost. Like, I'll never be able to kill him. Like, he can 1v2 us, and their jungler's just going to counter jungle me. This is it.
Did you have to say more words than his name? Or was the rest was just like filler, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, I'm good with this topic. Jungle's broken, nerf this shit.
Yeah, we all agree jungle's stupid as hell still. I think we all agree with that.
Yes.
Let's go on to the next one. So, next question. What's a champion that when he or she becomes meta or playable, you strongly question Riot's balance team? Oh god, dude, Vayne. 100%. I think Vayne is the baseline for an AD, where I don't think she's god awful, but I don't think she should be able to be picked every single fucking game, regardless of anything else. Like, I'll just blind pick Vayne. It's like, who gives a shit, dude? I don't care what I'm against. Oh man, I got stomped in lane. Okay, I got 2 items, and I'm just gonna insta kill everyone. Like, now that there's no armor pen bottom lane, it becomes so much harder to punish her with someone like a lane bully. So Lucian's pretty much. I thought that matchup before was like a skill matchup. That shit's not even close now. Like, I'm pretty sure Lucian actually has the lowest win rate of any AD at the moment. Yeah, so that champion is just a joke now. Like, who are you gonna pick to beat Vayne? It has to be Caitlyn. Like, I don't want a meta of just Caitlyn Vayne. That shit's miserable. Like, that's boring as hell. I don't know. I hope that they look at AD and do a little more. I know I'm just a whiny fucking ADC. Oh, suck it up, dude. You're the only role that gets picked every game and some bullshit. But, like, I don't think.
No, your role sucks, dude. No offense, but, like, AD carry sucks. Like, this is coming from someone that like I would like to be a range carry, but, like, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just, I think I speak for a lot of players, even though they don't realize it. It's actually one of the hardest roles to play well when you're new to the game, because you're punished harder for your positioning, you're squishier, you can have more impact. Like, if you mess up with your flash, then it ruins, like, a whole sequence of events. So it's like the most punishing role if you're inexperienced with it. You know, even in a meta where, like, Zed's not very good, like, you still feel so dependent on your team to protect you against certain champions like Hecarim. Like, if you're not playing Vayne and you're in this meta against a Hecarim that gets a lead, like, you know, you just don't like the game.
Dead.
Like, I don't want to play Twitch when I can't get protected, even in this meta where he's, like, kind of good, just because you feel so dependent on your team. So imagine if you're stuck in bronze, silver, or gold, you accept that you want to get better as a player, but, like, when you have to be dependent on your team for that position, and the same could be for support as well. Like, I wouldn't want to play it. Like, I don't know how they're like dedicated AD carry players in bronze or silver or gold, because, like, even if you accept that you need to get better as a player and you're like, man, I want to get better, you're still so dependent on your team. And when they're not even favored, like, at this point, if you're like learning the game, like, just play like Garen bot lane or something like that. Like, if you're not going to play Vayne or something, like, it legitimately feels better just to play like an AD bot laner like Tryndamere or something.
Yeah, no, that's what cracks me up the most is, like, I'll have people that are like, Dude, Cutie, how do I improve as an AD? I've been playing Jinx. It's like, dude, stop playing Jinx. You need to play meta shit if you're an AD carry. Like, don't play Jinx. If you want to improve, play what's meta. Like, sure, some other role, I mean, every role is kind of, I mean, you have the meta thing. Like, top lane, dude, if you don't play meta and you go up against Jace, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get absolutely fucking hammered. Like, so every role has that, but for like AD, you need to do damage and you need to be able to survive. And like Jinx, her damage compared to Vayne is actually garbage because Vayne can actually like literally one-shot Jinx. Like I've had games where I just one-shot ADs and then she has no survivability. She has traps. Oh no, Hecarim just ultied over it and just one-shot you. Like,
oh, Olaf? Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
match.
Olaf. Like, yeah, there's so many things that can just like the things are meta for a reason. Like AD, yeah, I agree. It can be an infuriating role because you're dependent on your team, and it's just so many things that like you have to improve on to actually get to a point where you can make a difference. And then even at that point, you're still relying on your team. So like you can get to the point where it's like, wow, I'm getting pretty good at AD. But if your team fucks up and feeds the jungler, like Hecarim's 12 kills, it's like, I'm really good at position. Oh, Hecarim just one shot me. Oh, he just eat into me and I'm dead now. Okay, well, that's fun. Yeah, I think Vayne is definitely like the bottom line for ADs, and if she's meta, I don't like that. Do you have something like that for Midscar?
I was actually going to use the exact same example.
Oh really?
I think yeah. There was a period of time during this is like last season or season before where Vayne was first pickable. Even close and competitive, Vayne was like a top 3 pick, and I think it was with like Sivir and Ezreal were meta, and then like. And there were a bunch of tanks, and everyone just started picking Vayne. And every time Vayne becomes meta, as in like first pick worthy, blind pickable, AD pick, I always think Riot messed up balance, 100%. Because that's a champ that should be a very situational lane counter pick into like a highly mobile like backline, like frontline killer. That's really slippery to get on, and she kills assassins, so she can beat split pushers and kill frontline divers. But it's like that's a lot of situational things for one champion. But if she's just strong enough where you can ignore all that shit, and apparently her IE tumble Q now just like 2 hits people because I just get crit for 800 damage on 2 items or something crazy like that. You can just do whatever you want, and the champion's just too good. And I think that anytime I see Vayne first picked, she's broken. 100%. 100% Riot messed up somewhere with either itemization or champion nerf. Something happened to where it's really bad. I in terms of mid lane, I kind of think, honestly, I just think Rise is broken every time. So I don't really know what to say. Like that champion has been broken for like 5 years, and every rework they do, people are like, "Oh, this champ's not that good," and then now he's broken still. Like I don't know what to say. Like they just can't. Their philosophy is we need to make a champion that has 2 different types of CDR. One that decreases based on spell cast, and he also scales with scaling CDR. So he's a machine gun turret mage with super high DPS, but somehow along the lines of making that like dream a reality, they also give him incredibly high mobility, incredibly high like sustain, incredibly high wave clear and damage. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, you just can't balance this champ. I understand. It's kind of cool how you're doing it, but it's Jesus, man.
I love it, dude.
Let's wait for the next. Like, I'm just waiting for the next rework because they messed up this one again. Actually, so yeah, Rise is my pick.
You got one, Valkrin?
Lee Sin.
You think Lee Sin?
Really?
Well, like in the past, like okay, all right. Let me rephrase that. I think it's different because of the jungle. So. When Lee Sin becomes like one of the best junglers, despite like how good you are on him, I feel like that's like the signification, or it signifies when the jungle's broken.
Actually, that's true. Yeah.
So like you remember like season 2? Was it season 2 when it was like Kha'Zix? No, it was season 4. Season 4 meta was Lee Sin and Kha'Zix. Like when I talked to Joe Greylock, that I referred to the season 4 jungle and kind of compared it to the current jungle because the jungles were similar. Like you could do a full clear and not lose any health, and then it was just about ganking and stuff. And I think Lee Sin would be the signification of the jungle being like in a bad state, because Lee Sin should be a champion kind of like Vayne, I feel like, where if he's just, you know, despite how good you are in Lee, if he can be effective, then something's wrong, because he's one of those types of picks that should be like high skill cap. Like you shouldn't be able to like RQ someone and one shot them because you're like 2 or 3 levels ahead of them. So I mean, even though I don't think Lee Sin's like broken per se, I think when the jungle's like so overtuned, he's like the type of champion that clears really quickly, super mobility for really good at invades, really good at ganks. He just does everything like pretty well. So when the jungle is super overtuned, like he's better than he should be for like the skill cap. But other than that, I mean, I guess kind of like Olaf too, because he's
really
kind of like one of those.
I can understand the Lee Sin. No, with the Lee Sin, I was talking with my chat. I told them, if I'm ever able to do well with Lee Sin, something's fucking wrong with this game. Like, I've taken up playing Lee Sin jungle after like never playing him before, and I can just pop the hell off. It's like, I'm not doing like ward kicks. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just like running around. I'll just kick Q you. Oh, you're dead. Okay, let me go to another, like, alright, you're dead too. Like, I agree with you on Lee. I don't know about Olaf, because what's your reason for Olaf?
You remember older seasons with Olaf? Like, do you ever remember like when Boy was playing?
Yeah,
Olaf
he just
top
take
lane
blue
and stuff?
buff.
Yeah, he took our blue buff. And then I remember because Dom was like, well, I guess I have to give both buffs to Void, but I guess I'll play Mundo for you. Oh, keep going, sorry.
No, I mean, that's good. I like reminiscing about those old days, the good old days.
Yeah.
I remember, but you know, like Olaf as a champion is just like really dumb, because you know you can't crowd control him when he's in the meta where he's like overtuned. Then it's like, okay, he just ghosted at me, and like I just have to like hope that he can't kill me while his ult's on, and then that's it. So like he kind of like bounced back, similar to why like Lee Sin did. Like the jungle's like, you know, super overtuned towards the end of last season. He's just like a dumb champion. Like I like playing Olaf because he's so dumb. It's just like, it's really not hard to hit axes. He's got like true damage on his E. He's just, you know, he's really brain dead. Like I think he's more brain dead than Lee Sin, to be honest. And I don't like it when there's like very few counterplays to champions. So when I'm playing Olaf, and I can just feel the anger of, you know,
you feel my anger, dude.
Yeah.
I hate that champion so much. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I agree with you, yeah, because Olaf being in the meta was pretty much an indicator that, like, Strength of Ages is fucking stupid. Like, Olaf shouldn't be able to just have 3,000 life at, like, fucking level 10 and just run me down when he pops his ulti, because it gives him move speed now also. Like, all that stuff is just, like, why does he have how is he getting so much gold in so many levels that he's just so strong that he can just barrel through my turret, like ignore my support, just go straight for me on the tower and just one shot me? Like, how does this make any sense? Yeah, Olaf's definitely one of those champs where he should not be able to see the light of day unless someone's doing some like miraculous shit with him. Yeah, I just feel like there's so many of these kinds of champions in this game right now that the meta, I don't think the meta's that bad, but when I think about the champions that are being played right now, it's like, should these champions really exist? Probably not.
Yeah. I don't think, no, all this shit we talked about the game, I still think the game's a lot of fun. Like, I enjoy playing the game right now. However, do I think it's appropriately balanced? Hell no. Do I think Riot could be doing a better job? Absolutely. Do I think they dropped the ball on a lot of things? Absolutely. I think the learning curve from last meta to this one should have been, alright, we ended on a meta where super jungle dominant and super laning dominant. Like laning dependent champions, jungle dominance. So what should we tone back if we're looking to bring in new stuff? We need to tone back the really crazy, abusive, laning champions. So like Caitlyn, Jace, Ryze, Syndra, and then we should tone back, the jungle. And what did they do instead? They didn't touch any of the abusive stuff. Made tanks super broken with Colossus. Made support itemization super broken. Assassins are fun to play, but not very good. And jungle's even more broken than it was last. I actually don't know if jungle is better or worse than last season. I suspect it's more oppressive. Like, so it's worse. I think the jungle right now is worse balanced than it was last season, which is terrible. Like, how did you get worse in the jungle? I don't know. That's just my own thoughts.
Fair enough. So you guys agree that maybe the meta needs a little tunage from Riot then? All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's go on then. So, next topic, Faker reportedly is making $2.5 million a year for staying on SKT. This would make him the highest paid player. Thoughts? That's pretty cool. I mean, congrats
awesome.
to him.
I think he deserves it. Like,
yeah.
He is the most dominant player of our
generation
since the game's inception. Since ever. I'm glad he's getting paid a shitload. Hopefully that means everyone in the East-West will get paid a shitload. Like, I better get a check in the mail soon that has...
I don't know if everyone... I don't know if that's too sustainable. You're maybe pushing it like fake... I don't know if like... You know, Faker compared to like maybe some of the players in other regions, you know.
Like what?
Like who?
I'm just saying,
who you
like,
tried to call out, dude?
You know, like there's Faker, and then there's like NA teams that are last
what
place,
teams?
like all of them, like Echo, Fox, NRG. Like if they were being paid $2.5 million a year, like, I mean, I don't know like the numbers. I'm not like an accountant or any of that garbage, but like I feel like they'd be running in the red a little bit.
How much do you think they're worth?
How much do I think they're worth? How much
would you pay them?
How much would I pay them?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
What are they worth to you? Like, if you were the coach and you're like, all right, I got the players that I have. Like, how much do you think?
If I could assign a value to them, I mean, the thing is that the value of a player is a lot more than just individual skill. Like players, I mean, people hate to hear this, but like, there's a lot more that goes into like what a player's worth than how good they are, because you need like how good they are doesn't mean anything if it doesn't like translate into anything. Like, it needs to be marketability and that kind of stuff. So like a team like Echo Fox, I mean, like their top laner was KFO. Like, I'd pay him. What's like the minimum wage in California? I'm just saying, dude. Like, you want to know what I assign their worth? Like, that would be my worth assigned to them. Like, what would you? Okay, let's say you were the manager and you were trying to run an esports team. What would you pay KFO? What would you pay the members of Echo Fox?
I mean, it depends on how much money I have to spare. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so you're gonna make an investment in Echo Fox, the team that went 1-18. What's your investment gonna be?
I would like if I really wanted to have a future and like grow these players, then I would want to pay them appropriately so that they feel comfortable putting themselves at risk to be a pro player. Like, I think there's a big problem because, yeah, the players in NA are not as going to be as consistent and as good as players in Korea, and there's a whole lot of reasons for that. But you have to factor in that a lot of these players could potentially like be good, like really good down the road if they have cultivation, they get the right management and coaching staff, and they're putting their lives at risk doing this. You know, maybe not their actual life, but like they're putting off college, they're not able to like further themselves in other trades. Like, they're doing this, and if they feed and their management's like, man, you're not worth minimum wage anymore. And then you get kicked off on a team, they have to go to a lower tier team, then the Challenger Series. It gets to the point where you get these like decent-ish players that could potentially be good leaving the pro scene really early because, it's just not worth it anymore. Like, if they were paid not enough, like if they were paid less than what you could make with a college degree, like, I think you enter a danger zone where a lot of players will just be like, it's not worth it, I'm going to go to school. And the job security is just like not even there. Like, I understand a lot of people are like, man, I want a game for a living. That sounds great. But like, I guess it's because I've gotten older. I'm like 25 now, but I'm at the point where if I really thought about it when I was younger, like it's just like a huge risk. Like putting that off, it might be cool in the time, but your time is valuable. Like, in your youth, you have to be really careful about where you put your time because.
No, I agree with you, Devin. I mean, there's a reason why, like, people always ask me, Cutie, start your own team. Hell no. I couldn't do that because I wouldn't want to fuck with some kid. Like, I remember how I was there. Like, I know, like, if I did start a team, I'd pretty much have to like fuck these kids over to like really try to make the investment to be worth it. And I mean, I don't know how other teams are right now, but I think franchising again is a great thing. Or I don't like it from a spectator point of view because I think the games are going to be boring as hell. But like from the perspective that you're talking about, it definitely helps for a team to feel more comfortable investing into a player because it's like, all right, you're not doing that good. That's okay, man. We're just gonna, just chalk it up to an unfortunate split. Let's work on our mistakes. Next season, we're gonna tear it up, dude. But how it works right now is it's like, all right, you're playing like garbage. We're gonna get our ass relegated if we keep you. So you're gonna go and fucking fuck off, and we're gonna pick up this guy instead, who hopefully can save us from relegation. Like, yeah, I think I think franchising will help with that, but I hate it from a spectator point of view. But yeah, like some of the players, with how it is right now, they're just not worth very much. What do you think, Scar?
Oh, hearing Valkrin talk about like what people are worth and giving up these dreams, it's like I think you coming in. Okay, I'm an idealist too, but you're coming from like a very a higher level than me. Because I remember the time
challenger level.
No, because I'm there too. But like higher as in more delusional. Like me and Kitty played professionally when we were getting paid base salary. Like if you're talking about you gotta think of the future. It's like holy moly. Me and Kitty, like I had a period of time where after coaching Dignitas, I was almost in the red, like because. It was like I didn't leave on a golden parachute. Like I didn't get at the time, and even when looking back, I don't think I got paid sufficiently well. But I also feel like in the market at that time, you couldn't really pay players like as much as you'd like to pay them. Like obviously, like someone keeps spamming in chat. Average NFL player makes $1.3 million a year. I love the average League of Legends LCS player to make $1 million a year. However,
that's just not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening anytime soon. So, like, the average salaries in LCS right now are very close to 6 figures. From what I hear behind the scenes, most of the players will be making 6 figures this year, which is great. That's huge. That's like triple the amount of money me and Kitty used to make. And it's not even like me and Kitty at the time were bad players. We're like on a top 4 team every season. And so even the lowest rated team is going to be making average 6 figures. I think that's pretty good. How much I would pay that Echo Fox roster, Kitty. I pay Froggen and Keith the most. I think they've proven themselves and they're really good. And the rest of the people are all newcomers. I'd pay them like average wage at the time. But like when I hear Valkyrie talking about, oh, dude, these guys got to think about their future and what they're giving up for this. It's like this is not an industry where you don't come into esports if you're making financial decisions, like at all. You don't play in the LCS if your goal is money because. If you're playing here, it's for the passion of the game, and you just gotta take what you can get. And of course, you'd love to be making as much as you possibly can, but you can't really think about that when you're playing. Because if you want to be the best player, you gotta just grind. You gotta hustle and pray to God everything works out. Make your value really high by showing off really, really good, like you have a really strong brain and really great play, and that's how you get paid more. But like, it feels like a lot of stuff you're talking about. I'm just like, well. In a perfect world, I agree with you, but we don't live close.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. Yeah, with Valkyrie, like in a perfect world, man, I want everyone to fucking like never have to do anything again. You get all the fucking money you want, but like realistically, if you have to assign values to like people with, I mean, basically that's what teams do. Like they just. I remember back in the day, they were basically just farming contracts just to sell. It was like basically fucking cattle, pretty much. They just like lock someone in a contract. All right, dude, we got this guy for sale. Anyone want him? He's a new up and comer, dude. Like, that's just how it is. I don't actually know how like teams, like their financial situation. Like, I want players to be paid as much as they can be, like realistically, without them like exploding. Maybe they could be paid more. I don't know, but like if I was a team owner, I could never be a team owner because you just pretty much have to fuck people over. And
okay.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I could say about this situation is that when you look at other industries, other career paths, you kind of know where your career path is going to go. So a good example, I tell a lot of people this. A good example that when you're trying to become a doctor, well, okay, I'm gonna spend this much time in school, like 8 years. I'm gonna intern at this place. I'm gonna open up my own profession. I'm going to at this place after so many years at this hospital, and then all that stuff. I'm gonna take I'm gonna become an MD at this time, and you have like a kind of a 10-year career path. But when you're playing esports, like I don't know what it's like for Cutie, but it's hard to even plan more than 1 year in advance. And when we first started, it was hard to plan even like 3 months in advance. So the industry itself is still volatile. It's still fairly young. So when we're talking about like these ideas that people like should be paid like so and so much, like I agree with you if this industry was stable, but it's still kind of not. And I think the proof is just that there is no such thing as a long-term plan in esports. Long-term plan in esports for all the bigger orgs is probably like get franchise, make a shitload of money. But like,
I feel like the plan now is to just make as much money as possible, like, because you don't know how long this shit's gonna last. Even
for streamers, like if you tell me you knew exactly what you're doing a year from now, I would be like, that's bullshit. Tell me, but maybe a year is actually feasible now. But like, I'm talking like 2 or 3 years down the line. If I'm sure someone in chat has always asked you, where do you see yourself in 10 years? There's no way you've answered him truthfully. If it wasn't some really ambiguous thing like, oh, I'd like to be happy. I think I answered the question like, I'd like to be living on a private island with a bunch of supermodels and like a Death Star. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think that cause the industry, its proof is right there. The industry is still really young. Because you can't have these long-term plans, talking about financial stability it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe I approached the question without being specific enough, but I think you guys have a better perspective on this for sure because you were pro players. But I think my perspective is more towards like hoping that there would be a future for esports, and you guys kind of hit the nail on the head where it's so so up in the air that it's kind of like this is a cool fun thing for now. We don't know if it'll work out. From my perspective, if we want it to work out, then it needs to be angled and approached a certain way. So it doesn't just become like players are cattle. And it may be becoming a little bit less of that. And maybe I do have an idealized like fantasy of what pro players should become or be if we want esports to be taken serious and we want there to be a future, but we just don't. And like I don't have that insider perspective. So from like a spectator's perspective, it just feels so random, like especially in the downtime where players are swapping teams and people are like, how much is this guy making? TSM made Prey a 500K offer. Oh, that wasn't right. Oh my God, what's this? It's like we don't know what's happening. I just want it to be a cool split. Like I want next Worlds to be better than this Worlds. I want it to keep growing. I mean, it just seems like everybody's trying to figure out like what's going on. The organizations don't know what a player is really worth, and there's like they want it to be franchised. And there's just so many things up in the air. Like if it does become franchised, it would like, if that was addressed, then we would know where the game is going. If it's just up in the air, like, maybe next split, and teams are holding on for these ideas of like, maybe we'll like lock in a position and we can start building a legacy and stuff like that. And then the spectators are like, no, we don't want that because of this. But it's just like, no one really knows what's going on. It feels like complete chaos from a spectator's point of view. And then once like, For me, like I don't even keep up with the downtime. Like I don't even know like the full list of like all the teams that have picked up new players and what Echo Fox's new roster is going to be. Like it's a lot of speculation. Like at the end of the day, I really don't care until the games like start coming. You know what I mean? Like once I start seeing the games, like man, that was a good decision to pick them up. But that's just where I'm coming from with that idea. Is that I would like for esports to have a future. I mean, I'm a streamer, and I would like for video games to be even more popular because that would mean that there's more of a future in that. So,
I mean, the thing is, I think there is a long-term plan. It's just that all of it's in the shadows right now. Like, Riot shares with the owners, like, quite a bit of information, so most of which I'm not allowed to talk about, but, like, stuff from, like, stats of all the regions, like, how League is doing, and, like, just to let you know, more than likely, we're getting franchised. The LCS, like 90-something%.
Oh, like I'm 100% sure. Dude.
Yeah,
I see all the teams announcing that they're picking up challenger teams. That pretty much tells me next season's going to be franchising. Farm this shit while you still can. Like,
yeah, I think it's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen because they have a plan, like an actual long-term plan with like, oh, we're going to do this in this year. Like, we can't talk about stuff for this year, but maybe for this year we can have negotiations for stuff. Like, that's the talks that Riot has with owners and like all of the upper brass. And so I can just tell you that like, yeah, they have a plan. I actually think League is in a good spot right now. Before I used to be like, people used to ask me, how long is League gonna last, Gar? And I'm just like, oh, maybe like 1 to 2 years, 1 to 3 years. Now I think it could be like anywhere between, I think at the lowest point, it'll last at least 2 years. At the highest point, you can go over 10. Because when you look at Dota, like, it'll have to be like a different, like League of Legends 2, where they redo stuff, but like, I could see this game lasting a long time. And I think that esports right now, or like League of Legends esports in general, is like in a prime position to advance. As long as Riot doesn't mess stuff up and like the owners don't mess stuff up. I think in the next couple of years it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, like, I mean, as like one of the, I don't want to say one of the original players, but like as like one of the older,
one of the OGs.
Yeah, one of the OGs, dude. It just makes me happy that Riot's at least done a good enough job to get us to the point where like someone that plays competitively can at least make like $2.5 million a year. Like if someone told me fucking like 5 years ago when I first started playing competitive, like, dude, stick with this, you're gonna be making $2.5 million a year. I was making like fucking like $500 off of a shit tournament. It was like $2.5 million. Are you kidding me, dude? That's gonna rock. Like, I'm pretty happy with Riot's done so far. Hopefully they can keep doing it, because if everyone could be making that, that's just better for us all. So, Riot, be proud of yourselves, man.
Did you guys ever do the Go for LOL tournaments?
Oh, I love that shit. That was that was like, what was that? It was like a $100 into the monthly one that was $200, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a waste of fucking time, dude.
You'd spend your whole Sunday like playing, and or at least for when I did it, it was like it was on Sunday, you'd play all day, and then like unless you won it, you'd win like $20 if you and your team won it per person, and for like a day's work. But
the best thing is we started so early, they just didn't pay. Like ESL at the time was really famous for like their payment would be like, oh, we pay you in like 3 months later or just never. And so like we'd win it, but they'd be like, oh shit, well,
yeah,
are we ever going to see this money?
If anything, we were probably losing money having to buy that bullshit like subscription pass or whatever to actually enter the tournament, dude. That stuff was dude, ESL, man, they grade A, man. That's a nice production, dude.
Actually, the best thing about those tournaments was I remember hitting this other team. They were like a Korean or Chinese team at the time playing on the NA servers, and I was like, wow, like we almost lost this team, dude. You guys better watch out. And then like the very next week they played, they cheated. Like they lost a close game and they reported that they won, and then they got banned from all ESL tournaments in the future. And I was just like, oh. Just kidding, guys. They're not that good. That's like the only thing I remember about ESL monthly or weekly tournaments.
Yeah, those were the good old days, man. But hey, great shit though, everyone. Great job, Faker, making that $2.5 million. Let's go on to the next one. So Riot Games wants to add an earlier 15-minute surrender option. Great. Yeah. I'm okay with that, dude. Like there's a ton of games where I'm just like, get me out of this shit. Mid laners like 0-10, they're jungler. Jungler again, Hecarim 12-0. He just comes, one shots me. It's like 20 minutes almost here. Well, all right. I'm perfectly
when matchmaking is so unbalanced, I definitely want a surrender vote as soon as possible. And like, I understand the mentality of a lot of players that want to get better, and they're like, never surrender, never give up. But like, when you have enough experience, and this is something I still have to tell my chat sometimes, when they're like, you could still win. And I'm just like, yeah, we can still win if they disconnect their keyboards and they, like their player skill level just like drops to a point where you could like kill an AFK person. But it just, I don't know. It's like this weird part where you don't want games to be like open mid. You want people to try hard, because there are some games you can come back in, but there are also some games where you have to respect your opponents as good players. Like, they're not going to do something stupid enough to throw some leads. So it's like they need to be kind of careful with that because it can set a bad example for players in lower elos. You can straight come back in any game in low elo. Like bronze to platinum, like you should play out most of those games unless the score is 0-30 from the very start. Like if you have if you can make kills happen, you shouldn't forfeit. But once you like can't make any more kills happen on like any of them, that's when you need to forfeit because you can't win unless you can kill like at least their 80 carry or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like, I'm pretty sure that a main reason for this is how much, like, people open mid. I'm sure Riot has some stat on this, dude, but, like, I mean, I've had a ton of games where it's just like, okay, I'm playing Vayne. All right, I got 3 kills early. Okay, the jungler ganks me. I just 3v2'd them, open mid. It's like, all right, well, great game.
I think for Riot's perspective, one of the worst things that's ever come out of Korean solo queue was the idea of opening mid. I remember when there was a huge Reddit post on it, and then all of a sudden, like, it just started becoming really popular. And in like, all, like, not, I think not even high elo, like, people just, like, say that shit all the time. And I say it sarcastically. I'm like, alright, like, I die open mid, or some shit like that. My bot lane gets up open mid, guys. But I think that's, like, a terrible process for Riot. Like, they don't want that shit in the game. And so, giving the other team, or a team the option to surrender early is, like, the best solution they can come up with. Even if it's, I can already tell people are going to agree with it, because it has to be ununanimous, or unanimous surrendering, 5 out of 5. So.
Yeah, you're just going to feed unless it's like,
yeah,
game's over, I'm just feeding now, guys. Yeah, I think it has a lot of problems.
But I still think it's better to have in the game, you know? They can't control the player base if they want to be inting or doing griefing, but they can at least give the options for players to get out of games that if they want to take it.
Yeah, so I'm okay with this. You guys okay with it?
I love it. Keep it up, Riot. Good shit.
Next one. So Valkrin was chosen as a sub support for TSM and moved to their network. Almost no subs outside of TL saw any sort of play throughout both seasons. As a former substitute player, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm still a sub. I almost saw play one game the first time Biofrost joined the team because they weren't sure if he had a visa. But I didn't even play support really. Like I kind of stopped playing support, so I didn't feel comfortable at all. Luckily, they didn't have to use me because I just like it just got to a point. Like I don't remember if you can remember QTPie, but I used to like play bot lane a lot. There's like at the end of season 5, I think we didn't duo, but like when we played together, we had like a crazy record where we won like 18 games. We lost like 1 or 2. Yeah. But I used to be that grind lord support. I would just play like Vel'Koz and a bunch of other stuff. Then I just like got tired of it and I just kind of switched. I mean, since the beginning of League, I've mained every position. I play for fun. I play to grind the ladder. And then when something gets boring, I usually just like switch it up. And I don't like to be playing what's the most popular thing. Like in the jungle, if the fucking Nidalee Graves meta. Oh my god, I played like no games of Graves and Nidalee last season because it was just like you'd see it every game, and it was just like ban this.
Man, you must
like,
have
I don't even want to practice
yourself,
it. It needs to be banned every game. Just get out of my face. But what do you want to know specifically about it? Like
what do you think of the fact that subs don't really like? From my perspective, I have no idea what subs do. I'm pretty sure they're literally just there for like Twitch contracts to like get viewable hours up. I don't think I've ever seen like, I mean, I'm sure there's been like subs that actually saw play, but most of the time they just pick up streamers and it's like, all right, dude, you're a sub for the team. Go get them.
They, basically Reginald picked me up because I was like ranked 7 in the ladder. They needed an extra sub spot. And at the time my stream was growing. So it was just a really good fit for both parties. I get a little bit extra income every month for being a sub, just like, I think it's like $700 a month, which is, it's good considering that like, I don't technically have to do anything besides like potentially, like I have to have my visa and passport and stuff like that in case, something were to come up and they would have to like use me. But other than that, it's just mainly just so that they're required to have subs. And I think it's totally fine for some teams to not use their subs and to just focus on their main roster. I don't think that's going to be the future of the game. I think the future of the game will actually move more towards having the challenger teams that they can swap players in and out of and stuff like that potentially. having them subs on the main roster. If I don't know if that's going to ever be blocked. I don't. But anyways, kind of like what Liquid did, like growing 2 rosters, and if you do have problems with one player, you can swap them out. And from a perspective of being a sub player, I mean, I never really expected to see gameplay. It just, being TSM's like one of the biggest brands, if not the biggest brand in esports. So, I mean, it was just kind of like, I think I was approached by CLG, Liquid, and TSM at the time, and TSM was just like the only one that would like. They also get me deals with sponsors, so it's just kind of like, all right, why not?
Fair enough. Well, I'm curious. So I think in one of the one of the 4 or 5 major regions, one of the other regions, it's like LAN or something like that, requires that their subs play at least 2 games of split. Do you think a rule like that would encourage people to take subs more seriously, or do you think it's just like,
I think it definitely would. The thing is, I feel like subs is a necessary role because that's how you grow talent. Like I love what Team Liquid did. They gave their subs playtime. They like swapped it out. It was like, hey, try this, do this shit. Like, I think that kind of stuff is super important for teams to like esports or LCS, I guess, just for it to like really grow into something more meaningful is like this, like the positions have to mean something. Like if the sub position is just like, all right, dude, we got a contract with Twitch. We need viewer hours. All right, you're going to be our sub, dude. Just stream. We'll pay you a little bit, and then we'll fucking reap the benefits, man. Go and fucking do it. I think that shit's dumb as fuck, man. Like, you could just pick, like, it doesn't, they don't even have to be a sub. I don't understand why they put him as a sub.
So, because Riot requires you.
Yeah, it's essentially.
Yeah. I guess that's two for one.
You have to have 2 subs, and you have an emergency sub. And almost everyone's emergency sub is the owner of the org. So I know CLG's, I think CLG and TSM both have Reggie and George as one of the subs. So like, God forbid, both the subs or one of the subs like can't make it, and the player gets sick. Who's gonna sit in and play Brand, Hotshot, or like who's gonna come in and play Karthus, Reggie. But thankfully, it's never gotten to that far.
Yeah. I think it's a stupid thing, but who knows, man? I guess the future will tell us if it's good or not. But let's go on.
I mean, there should be subs that are like serious subs and actually see gameplay. But I mean, what you'd have to pay? That's like you have to actually pay another player like a decent salary if it's a player that's looking to progress in the pro scene. And they're itching to get off the bench type situation.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
If there's enough money, then I think teams would just like pick up as many good players as possible and get them under contract, and try to grow them. And
hey, we're back.
God, holy moly!
Okay, let's like we were saying, dude. Rumors of Bengi and Duke joining Immortals are floating around. NA is also supposed to be one of the highest paid regions of the year, meaning LCS could be the most stacked ever. How excited are you? I mean, player talent doesn't matter to me. It's just a matter of how well they work together. Like, I always say this shit, but like individual players, like the difference between them is like pretty fucking minimal. It's about how good you are on a team, like in working together, that really makes for like an all-star team. So, I mean, these players kind of like Bengi and Duke, they're pretty good, yeah. Like, if they get a team that's garbage and they can't communicate with one another, then it's just going to be Immortals again, lol.
What do you think, Valkrin?
I don't know. Like, I usually get really hyped during the season, but like not so much at the start because so much of it's speculation. But even in the season, I don't know. I've never been one of the people that like kept up with it week to week. Like when there's like a hyped up match or something, I'll watch it. But for the most part, it's hard to get excited about every single match and like every single team. So it's one of those things where I'll like get pumped when it's happening, but like before the fact, I'm just kind of like, well, that's happening, but I guess.
All right. I think you and Keita are pretty much the same. For you guys, roster changes, like everyone gets excited about roster leaks, but you guys are pretty like tame, low key. I think it's just cool to have the thing is, I would prefer to have more domestic talent come up. And so, cause these are the people I interact with on a daily basis. Like in solo queue, I'm like watching like the up and coming players and I can be like, oh shit dude, I knew that guy when he was just like a Tryndamere player and now look at him like slaying all the big dogs in LCS. But when it's import talent, I'm just like, it's cool that they come over. I hope the games are good. You know, I don't have that kind of personal connection, until like after the LCS split develops.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can make some waves, but there's been so many Korean imports that, I mean, OQ, fucking whatever other fucking ADs come here,
like 3 top laners. Like every top laner last year was imported from Korea. KFO. You had what was the top laner for Envy? Oh, we had Seraph, we had KFO, and then we had the other person from
people, dude. Who?
There's a bunch of
like the thing is,
every team had 2 import slots except for TSM and CLG.
Yeah, like some teams, it just feels like, hey, these guys are pretty good, or like OQ,
good for
like
jobs.
Yeah. OQ people were like hyping me up like, this is the greatest AD. I remember when he was first coming in, St. Vicious was like, dude, you ever heard of OQ? I was like, no, who is that? He's like, you don't know who OQ is? This guy's gonna be the best AD in North America. I was like, cool. That, great. And then I thought,
oh god. Oh, first half, terrible. Absolutely god awful.
He was
I heard some stuff
the entire time.
But then, like, after, he was the most improved player in LCS.
Does that mean
opinion.
I mean, most improved when you're garbage.
No, they won every laning phase, and they were they were the only reason NRG was in half the games. They literally won every laning phase for, like, the second half of the split, I think. It was disgusting. Like, I don't know. I have a much higher opinion of OQ than most people. So I watched every game because I had to do interviews on every single team. So every time I watch NRG's bot lane in the second half of the split, I was like, holy moly. I thought Santorin's like skill from the first half of the split, people were like, wow, this guy's so good. All of that got transferred to OQ because OQ and Kiwi Kid were like smashing people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying though that like when Koreans come over, it's like, that doesn't mean anything until I see him play. So
I feel you. It's the same way.
Alright, let's go on then to the next topic. People say support is the easiest position in the game and commonly joke people get boosted in the role. How do you see support role in both its difficulty and importance of the game? I think support is like one of the most important roles. If you're a good support, like at higher elo, it's a lot easier for support to really matter more than at lower elo. But it's a very important role. I think the difficulty, like, it's more of, like, people say AD's difficult. AD's the fucking easiest role in the game, dude. Like, I don't care your opinion, because I play this role for fucking ever. It's the easiest role in the game. Like, support is more of, like, a thinking role, so it doesn't matter how good you are mechanically. I mean, obviously you need mechanics, too, to play well, to juke things and stuff, but it's definitely a thinking man's role, and that's a lot harder than just, okay, right click. Okay, I right click this shit to death. All right, let's move the next. Okay, this guy's right click to death. All right, let's.
You're
move
saying
the
that
next
every
guy.
Janna main that has reached master tier has been an unbelievably like skilled decision-making tactician.
I think the Janna mains are skilled in the sense that they know to play Janna instead of playing fucking Thresh when I'm on their team and then missing every hook and then missing the play and then flashing and missing the bot. I would rather have a Janna main that at least knows that they're bad and they have a big impact in the game and the role isn't worthless, so they don't just play a worthless champ, then, you know, play Thresh and just... God, Thresh and Morgana, those two are my nightmare picks because it's like, LOL, I don't play this role. I'm just going to go and do this, cutie, and you just carry me, LOL. It's like...
Blitzcrank, dude.
I actually love playing with Blitzcrank because it's like, I mean, you might not hit the first, second, third, fourth, fifth hook, 10th hook, but like you got to land at least one, like just the law of probability. You have to, there's no way 0%, like you can't miss every single hook in the game.
Hey,
Rebecca,
what do you think about this? What do you think about support? Because you secondaries a support role, or used to. What do you think?
I think that if you play Janna or Zyra, you can single-handedly win certain aspects of the game for your AD carry. So like if you're playing Zyra and you're not getting jungle ganked, like you should get the first turret. You should like kill them multiple times. Like Zyra is still so broken in laning phase that you can single-handedly zone them 1v2. It doesn't matter what your AD carry picks, to be honest. If you're a good Zyra player and you're playing RNG, like their AD carry can't harass you, their support shouldn't be able to harass you. I think it's really frustrating with how big of a gap there is with playmaking with supports. It's just kind of like I feel like in this meta, I've been enjoying playing Scion support because of Courage of Colossus. It's really fun, but it's not exactly the best support. But like it makes me mad because like when you're playing Janna, like you're probably gonna win, right? Like you're gonna protect your AD carry, you're gonna stop the assassins from diving in, but it's not really fun. And even when you're playing well, no one's just like, God damn, that Janna tornado was so perfect. Like, please, this support needs to be like blessed by the gods. Like, just honor our support. Like, no one cares if you're playing Janna and you're playing well. Like, you just accept the free elo you get. Really, the only supports that like people are like, damn, look at that play. It's like Blitzcrank. He's not even in the meta. Like Thresh, he's rarely in the meta. Like the plays that are just, basically the hookers. So I feel like even the support's like a very impactful role, and you shouldn't just pick Elemental Lux and just like, build full AP down there. Because, you shouldn't be just like, oh, I'm filled in support, time to play Lux. Because if you play Janna, you provide more, easier, and you have just more opportunities during the important crucial moments of the game to carry your team by preventing certain things. So support's a really important role. I do kind of wish there were more like exciting champions that were good in that position, because it does get boring after a while when you play just enough support games. Like you eventually just like start playing stuff like Lux, because I mean you just play all the ones like Janna and then you just eventually get too bored. But yeah, it's a good role for the game. Maybe not so much for entertainment factor.
All right, fair enough.
My personal opinion is that there are supports that are really hard to play, like Thresh, for instance. He just said that the average Thresh player with him just doesn't play that well. That's what it seems. And then there's champions with really, really slow skill floors. Champions like Soraka, Janna, I can hire a dog to play those champions, and they can probably do it. Like, they just gotta follow. I just gotta train them to follow me around and press like his paw on like the E key, and wow. So exciting. Like it is commonly the support role that gets boosted the hardest into like whatchamacallit, master at the very least, because it's just really easy to carry someone who their only job is very, very low mechanically skill demanding, and that's it. They let the other player 1v2. I think maybe those champions are too effective at what they do for their low skill requirement. I don't know though, because I think that the game should have easy champions to play, and the game doesn't have to be like, let's put a skill shot on Janna E and then Soraka heal and all that shit. But maybe it might be necessary in the future for Riot to relook at some of the easier champions.
I mean, I don't even think Janna is like Soraka aren't even that good like in the meta. Like,
oh, really? I think
I'm talking
Janna
like competitively. Like, I don't think competitively they're that great. The only thing is that they're just good in solo queue because supports are so garbage. Like, almost everyone that plays support's garbage. And like, if I'm versus a Thresh and I have Janna, I know 100% I'll probably win the game, because I'm gonna stomp the lane because their Thresh is probably some boosted garbage player, and my Janna literally doesn't have to use her brain. All she has to do is hit E on me, and then like, the Thresh is going to miss his hook, miss his flay. I do his entire health bar. It's like, all right, dude, great work. We did it together, man. Like, I mean, I love Janna because she's basically just like a battery pack for me. She's just strapped onto me, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do all the work. You just fucking hit your buttons and don't do anything stupid, and I'll just 1v2 the lane. I hate things that have to like actually think and do stuff themselves, but I mean, that's not to take away anything from support. Support's like definitely, again, I feel like it's one of the most important roles in the game, but yeah.
Sometimes some champions are easier than others, is what you're saying.
That's just how it goes, dude.
Would you guys like it if you could all in better bot lane? Like for instance, if like most people switch to Ignite,
I mean, that wouldn't make any difference.
Exhaust gets nerfed a little bit. You don't think it'll make any difference?
The thing is, like, what are you gonna play? You could try to play Leona if you could only go in if you get counter ganked, you auto lost the game. Like, and it's easy. Like, Janna tornadoes you, Thresh flays you. If you go on Alistar, you auto lost. Like, there's so many things that can deal with a champion like that. Like, Alistar is pretty good, yeah. He could definitely be like an all-inner, but I mean, he doesn't bring that much damage. Like, Janna's shield pretty much negates you. Janna Q stops your all-in. Like,
wait, so we're talking about all this stuff. Do you think Janna needs to be nerfed?
No, I don't think so. I think, like, Janna's a whatever champion. I just think she's good in solo queue because people are terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Valkrin?
Yeah. I think she needs to be nerfed because she... Where do I even begin? Like, you're an AD carry player, so I have to say that because you don't play as many other roles, you don't know how.
I play every role. I know Janna's fucking stupid. When I play Blitzcrank and it's just like, okay, I hooked their AD in, but Janna's just like mindlessly like, she just put a shield that negated all of my Blitzcrank damage, so now it's on my AD to support me with the hook. Okay, she tornadoed him, the AD got away, and now he just beat me down while he's running away because my AD's tornado. It's just like, wow, this was really fucking, I can't, like, that shit's not fair, but, like, I don't think that like, if I play something like Alistar and I just flash pull the Janna, it's like, alright, fuck you, you're dead. Like, I could play a lot of things to just be, like, pokers don't do that well, or they do okay versus Janna, but, like, yeah, I think Janna can stop a lot of things. I don't think that she's OP, though, because of it. I just think that's, like, how the champion should, like, if she couldn't be, like, an all-around good pick for, like, different things, she'd just be worthless, so, I don't know.
I think she limits what you can play. Like, that's, like, the problem with her. Is innately, if other things might be better or have like comparable ease of use, I think she you know, just like in general, like I know if I'm playing certain champions and they pick Janna, like it's not a fun game for me. The game just gets really slow. Playmaking becomes limited. It just makes the game less exciting when a champion like that is good enough that, you know, you can just have a boosted player play her and like you're frustrated because you're like, you feel like you can't use player skill to overcome that type of champion sometimes. That's why I think it should be changed at least. Maybe not nerfed, but just changed. So it's just, you know, like I don't, maybe it's because of my mentality of thinking that I don't think that ease of use should ever overcome like high skill cap picks, like easily. And I think Janna is like the biggest offender because she's so
I feel like there's that kind of stuff in every role though. Like, what would I rather play? Like, what would I rather play, Syndra or fucking like Xerath? All skill shots. It's like I'll play Syndra every time. I'll just fucking one shot the dude. What do I give a shit about? Like, what would I rather play? Like Olaf or fucking some other stupid shit that's hard to play? Like, I'll just play Olaf every time. Top lane, what would I rather play? Like Lissandra or Jace? I'm gonna pick Jace every time. Like, I don't know. I think that there should be like a high skill cap for champions, and you should be rewarded for playing them effectively. But ultimately, that's just how I feel this kind of game is there's S tier, A tier, B tier. Like, things that are easy are going to be S tier. Things that are easy and good are going to be S tier because they're easy and they're good. It's hard to fuck up on them, but.
And you want that to be the game, though? Like,
I mean,
if you
feel like there's
control
no
of the
way.
game, like,
do you think that they could do anything to stop? Like, how would you make it so, like, every champion's unique? There's gonna be, it's basically like playing rock, paper, scissors, except that there's abilities. So, like, rock can counter fucking paper if it comes in at this time and does this stuff. So it's just like, I feel like things are just gonna always be better than other things. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna see Warwick being played in the jungle. Like, that's just the reality of it. Unless they just changed the hell out of him and just made him like, gap closer. He goes on all fours, gains 60% move speed, and just tears you apart. If he uses his ulti when you're about to die, it resets. Like, all this shit, like, I don't ever see some champions just being as effective as other ones. Do you think that they could do that, though?
I mean, if they're moving the game that way and they're reworking old picks, I would like to see the game be to the point where you legitimately could just be like, all right, I can make this game work with this champion or that champion. Because if the game ever enters a state where there's just like half the champions that you just will never touch because, you know, they either don't excite you or they just simply just don't work. Like, if Warwick didn't get remade, you know, the game is not going to swing back in his favor, I don't think, from here on out. But maybe I could be wrong about that if they changed his itemization to be just perfect for him. But I don't like when the game is so simplistic, to be honest. Like, when the best champions, you know, when Warwick was favored in the jungle or in Master Yi was favored in the jungle, it was just like this isn't even fun because, you know, they're just fucking beating the shit out of you with a fucking wolf that has no skill shots, and, you know, it's just patch 420 Warwick. I mean, Darien meta, but
that's the thing that I'm saying, though, is like, I don't see how, like, that's just how it goes. It's like, okay, this is meta. Okay, things that utilize attack speed, that's meta. If you don't utilize attack speed, you're worthless. Like, when Blood Razor or whatever it was first came out, it's like, all right, I want to see Shyvana, Warwick, Master Yi, all that stupid shit just being played. If you don't use it, don't even bother being played right now. Like Kindred and that stuff. When it swings back, it's like, okay, you're all worthless, and now these are the new S tier. I mean, I enjoy it when it's like that. If they could somehow make it so everything is equally viable, and it's like, well, this is meta, but I can counterpick this with this champion, even though he's like a B tier champion, because he does this. I just feel like League's not too simplistic, but League's just not that much of. I don't know how to phrase it.
My thoughts on this are there's picks between S tier and like all the way down to like F. Okay? So S tier picks are the picks where you first pick in every single role. Jay's top lane, Syndra mid lane, Ryze mid lane, jungle, Lee Sin, whatever. The S tier picks commonly oppress other picks. Picks below also do the same thing, but the S tier picks I feel like should always get nerfed eventually because they just make it so that nothing else can get played in the lane. Like, if you want to be playing top lane, lane's super dominant, how do you match Jace? You don't, because he just beats everyone, essentially. So, if it's got to that point, that champ should just get nerfed. I don't even care if it gets removed. If it opens up the possibility of other champions, nerf that champ down. Alternatively, I think the best way for Riot to create champion diversity, one, add more bans, so that you can ban out more meta shit. That's already happening in solo queue and ranked, so can't wait for that. Secondly, they should buff the weak champions. Like there should be no F tier champions. The lowest tier should be like D or C, and that way the D or C champions will be situationally picked. It should be like, oh, I can maybe pick Veigar here because like it's a really good matchup, and like their team comp walks into us, and it's really hard. They have no poke, and he's perfectly positioned for me to win the game after 20 minutes. But I think and recently, I think Riot's done a really good job of being able to buff, like, weak champions upwards. I think if they keep doing that, and nerf, like, the stupidly strong, oppressive, S-tier champions, and add bans, their overall champion diversity will just naturally increase. Yeah. And they should probably add items as well, because, some of the itemization in this game is just, there needs to be more ways to, like, find a niche, but it's also harder to balance items because it affects so many picks at once. So we're just talking about champion diversity in general. I think that's all they should look to do to be able to bring stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that can happen. Maybe it can't. Who the fuck knows, dude? But I think Janna's fine, and I think support that role definitely an important one. Let's go.
All right, so okay, whatever. You just think the role just lacks good players, right?
Yeah, I just think everyone sucks that plays it.
Alright, fair enough.
Alright. Breaking news. Merchandise available at verifiedmerch.com, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's move on to the final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, Discord live Q&A. we're going to go to the question and answer section where we're going to answer some questions right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin with Jacob. Jacob, at the International Wild Cup All-Stars, they played Janna plus Vayne bottom. Do you have a problem with that lane, Valkrin? Does that trigger you? This guy wants to know.
Yes. Where should I begin?
Yeah, I think Janna Vayne is like, that's the quintessential, like, I don't want to say it's a no-skill lane because, I mean, it's hard to play, but with how the meta is right now, it's the most brainless shit to play because AD sucks, so they can't break through the shield. And then if you have Janna, your support can't break through the shield either. So it's just like, Vayne, that lane's disgusting, dude. I hate that shit right now.
If you're a melee champion at all, like, you lost the game.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Done.
Yep. If you're playing like Shyvana, you're trying to get into a team comp with Vayne, Janna, good luck.
Yeah, that's not happening. Franklin Hool wants to know, what do you think about Huni joining SKT?
Ooh.
You think Huni's SKT worthy?
I think he just needs a coach that's able to like be like, no, Huni, stop doing bad shit, like slap him. And so as long as he has that, which I feel like Toma's really good at doing that, I hope they'll be fine. I think people underrate him, and I've always underrated him as a player. He just needs someone to be able to direct him to make sure he doesn't pick stuff like Lucian Top because it's kind of stupid.
Right.
Yeah, he's never really played what's favored. He'll play if he can make like carry top laners work in a tank meta. Then like imagine if he actually geared up to play what is really best. So I think we don't even know how good he is yet because he was playing like AP Echo top lane when it wasn't even like considered good, and he was just like beating Maokai's and stuff, and it was just he's doing that, and it was like imagine if he was playing like the Jace in his prime or something like that. I guess when that really picked up flavor, they weren't in the tournament, but we were.
That's fucked up, dude.
But I would imagine that if he does get good management, like Skara says, like I think he's probably good enough to play at the highest level. So yeah.
Alright, fair enough. Butler Delta wants to know, how do you recommend a newly minted meta slave to take over the Rift?
Oh, the Butler Delta from the scouting ground. I think the biggest thing is just understanding lane matchups. You start from there. So I think you should have developed in some sense when tricking Anivia the idea of like how to play the game, and then you just need to figure out lane matchups from all the other champion sides. And the best way to do that is just watch good players play. I used to watch Apto religiously play matchups. Not Faker, Apto. I used to watch him play all his casting matchups and a lot of his Ori matchups to get good at the champs. And if you can watch your shit and then watch their shit and be like, would I have done that there? You kind of try to break down the stuff. That's how you improve.
Alright, fair enough. There you go, Butler Delta. This next question. You guys talk about the money in LCS, but that's mostly NA-LCS. Why is the EU LCS so poor? What do Europeans have to change? What do you think money matters when it comes to results and levels of play? I think for Europe, it's just super hard because, I mean, from like, I'm not going to claim to know all this shit, but just like from an advertisement point of view, like Europe has so many different languages, so much different like shit, so many different demographics and stuff to like have to target that compared to America, it's just a fucking pain in the ass to bother with it. So their money, like North America, it's just so easy to like, all right, dude, we want to fucking Razer wants to sponsor this shit. We just need to make some fucking English garbage. For Europe, it's like, all right, we need like 30 languages. So here's all this shit, dude. Go and fucking figure this out. It's just such a mess for Europe to try to pick up sponsorships. And plus, people don't even watch like European streamers. Like, I think Europeans are great. They're good players. I don't know why there's like no interest in European players at all. Maybe one of you guys can shed some light on it.
I think it's partly language barrier sometimes.
Yeah.
I think when like Darian streams, I mean he's streaming in his own language. Like he's not speaking English. He's native language. So I think it's partly just because all the different languages. I think that like going back to the the sponsorship thing, I just think that there's a lot of room for them to grow, but there hasn't been I guess in terms of streamers, I mean, I don't watch a lot of European streamers because of the language barrier, so I don't actually know what else, if there's another reason. I mean, I've heard that US is really offensive, so it's possible that their toxicity trends on streams or just in general hasn't picked up like it did for certain people in NA, that flame. But I don't know. There could be a lot of factors. It's just some of the ones that I thought of.
I think it's just that a lot of people just don't stream in Europe. Like when you think about, you pretty much know if a person's playing in an LCS, he'll at some point stream. If he's on a top team, you're gonna see him somewhere. Exception of maybe Impact. Everyone else streams. Everyone streams at some level, and I think that's not really true for you, LCS. It's like how many people on their stream? Maybe half, a little bit under half. On top of that, they're not really consistent with it. I know, just look at Sneaky, man. That guy, day in, day out, it's like he streams for a living. He literally, and he scrims, and then after scrims, he just streams for 4 hours. And it doesn't really feel like anyone else has that level of consistency as Sneaky does. And I think that, yeah, the other factors that Cutie and Valkrin said probably make sense as well.
Yeah, because you have to keep in mind a lot of the money that comes for the players, the contracts are good, but the vast majority of the money is probably the streams. So if you're not streaming, you're not picking up a fan base, you're not doing any of that. So you know how it goes. You know how it is when you're a European. But that was going to be the last Discord question. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a day for Beyond the Rift, episode number 16, 15, 17. Episode whatever it is. They can edit it and figure it out which one it is. Thank you for joining us, Valkrin. Cool. We had some hiccups, but if they like you, where can they find more of you?
Twitter @Valkrin, Twitch/Valkrin, and then YouTube the Valkrin.
There you go, friends. Skara, our lovable co-host. If they enjoyed you, where could we find more of you?
Just Skara on Twitter or Skara on Twitch. I'll be streaming right after this. Should be good.
I definitely check that out. You guys know me. I'm a cutie pie. You're here right now. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a wonderful day. That cat's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
See you guys later, everyone. Goodbye.